Hi, I'm Jesse, and this is my first podcast. I've never done a podcast before, and in hindsight, I'm already thinking about the fact that maybe I should have organised a podcast and thought about different things. But yeah, this is my first podcast. I didn't know if I should show my face. I know podcasts are generally just talking. It's you listen and I talk. But without further ado, my first topic on the podcast is going to be a little bit about myself. So basically, it's not as easy being able to do stuff like this, just generally talking. Not many people will see this, possibly, and maybe many people will. Well, hear this, of course. But I've done stuff in the past, so I've been on stage in front of an audience as a compare, so I've been able to talk to many people in confidence, and being able to do that is fine. But on the internet, I mean, there's a lot of different norms on the internet. There's a lot of things people might like, people might not like. When you're on stage and out and about, there's a lot. The audience can't do much about that. If you mess up, you carry on, and you work to the show must go on. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Other things I've done in the past is my music. Obviously, that's just it's a very small. I'm no professional, and it was music from a college that I was going to. So yeah, I was just starting out doing that. So this being the first short podcast, I suppose. I don't know how far I'm gonna go with it, but this is the first. This is the first thing I want to be doing. Thinking about it, I will organise some more interesting topics to further down the line. Yeah, I just wanted to throw this out there to see if anyone was willing to listen, and hopefully I can get some feedback on the very minute amount of work I've put into making this podcast. But I'm not putting myself down for it. I just feel that I could do better with this podcast, and I want to do better with this podcast. So if you have any thoughts, any topics, just throw them at me. I'm quite happy to talk about them. Thank you. And on a side note, the amounts of ums and ahs I've had to cut out of this thing, just to begin with, and just it's a lot. I've had to cut out so many different noises just to make this first tiny podcast. It's a very small podcast. It's like I've given birth. No, that sounds too weird. I've I've given birth to a new podcast. I've given birth to something. It's my creation, and yeah, when I said thank you at the end of it, because I have listened to it myself, and I don't speak. I need to work on my pronunciation. That's what I think I need to do. That's my next goal. That on top of coming up with a new subject. Okay, sorry to keep you waiting, and thanks again. And on a side note, I've just been listening back to that little extra snippet, and I wanna this podcast. I wanna keep going at it. Every time I listen to myself, that sounds really narcissistic, actually. I just listen to myself talking, and I get more into it each time. Just through listening to like these little 2 minute, 1 minute snippets that I keep doing, or I keep adding on extra stuff for people to listen to. If you are sticking around just for this bit, there's no actual added information here. This is just me sort of talking to myself right now. It technically has been me talking to myself this whole time, but that's how a podcast goes, I guess. Unless you have someone to talk to. Okay, I'm seriously going to end the podcast now. This is going to be the final be all end all of this first podcast. I hope you enjoyed. I know I've gradually enjoyed it myself. So thank you once more, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.